Welcome. My name is Rachel Robinson. I am an education specialist with the Early Childhood Education Division at TEA, and I am here today to review the high-quality pre-kindergarten component referenced in House Bill 3, the Family Engagement Plan. Today we're going to talk about writing and reporting a high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan. So to begin with, in this session, we're going to, as I said, dive a little deeper to learn more about the high quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan. And here are the points that we're going to cover. We'll talk about our objectives for this webinar. We will run through a quick overview of the House Bill 3 and high quality pre-kindergarten components. Then we'll talk about writing the high quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan, move on to posting and reporting that plan, and then we'll run through some resources and supports that the Early Childhood Education Division has available for you. Here are the objectives that we plan to cover in our session today. Participants will review House Bill 3 high quality pre-kindergarten components, increase knowledge of the high quality family engagement plan component, learn about considerations for writing a high quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan, receive guidance for writing each section of an exemplary high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan, and then finally identify available resources and supports that are available. So now let's briefly take a look at the high-quality components that are referenced in House Bill 3. Here is a comprehensive list of the high-quality pre-K components: curriculum, student progress monitoring, teacher qualifications, teacher-to-student ratio, family engagement, data reporting, and program evaluation. Today we will focus primarily on the family engagement component. So what does statute say about family engagement? Statute requires all LEAs with pre-kindergarten programs serving eligible 4-year-old students to develop and implement a family engagement plan. Here is the specific statute that defines this requirement. Texas Education Code Section 29.168A says a school district shall develop and implement a family engagement plan to assist the district in achieving and maintaining high levels of family involvement and positive family attitudes towards education. These 6 components are required in the family engagement plan. LEAs must be certain to include each of these components in their plan, along with a description of each and examples of activities, events, and practices that embody each component. The 6 components are: facilitate family-to-family support, establish a network of community resources, increase family participation in decision-making, equip families with tools to enhance and extend learning, develop staff skills in evidence-based practices that support families in meeting their children's learning benchmarks, and finally, evaluate family engagement efforts and use evaluations for continuous improvement. We're going to take a look at each one of these 6 components separately later in our conversation. Now that we have reviewed what House Bill 3 requires, we're ready to talk about how to do the real work of developing the high-quality pre-K family engagement plan. So here we go. First of all, who should write the plan? The Family Engagement Plan Writing Team is a group designated by the local LEA to develop the plan. The writing team should include staff who work directly with families and those who understand and value the LEA's vision for their pre-K program. The team should ideally include community members who work directly to serve families in the communities. This is a great place to include local child care providers who support families who will become part of the school population once they enter the public school. Additionally, the team should also include family members who represent the demographics of the community. Here's a list of some members of a potential writing team for a family engagement plan. Administrative staff from the LEA, from campuses as well, family support staff from campuses that are part of the district. That could include a parent support specialist, school counselors, other support staff that help families on campuses at the district. Also teachers, and again, the community child care staff from local child care providers in the area, and of course, some caregivers and family members who work directly with the children because they're part of their families. The high-quality pre-K family engagement plan will serve as the resource that drives family engagement for the pre-kindergarten program in the school district or charter school. It's important to include the required 6 components along with additional clarifying and intentional pieces that are recommended by the Texas Education Agency Early Childhood Education Division to create an exemplary plan that embodies the district or charter's vision for family engagement. Here's a brief outline of the pieces to include in an exemplary plan. First, the introductory paragraph, which will describe the LEA's vision for family engagement and the purpose or intent of the plan. Then, the body of the plan should include the 6 family engagement components, each with a describing statement for the component and then a list of activities, practices, or events related to each component. Transition activities should also be included. This is one of those recommended pieces. And within the transition activities, child care to LEA transition events and practices should be included. Pre-kindergarten to kindergarten transition events and practices should also be included. Next is linguistic and culturally inclusive practices. Again, this is another piece that is recommended but not required for the plan. And here you would want to include activities and practices promoting culturally responsiveness for educators and staff, as well as procedures and practices that ensure culturally and linguistically competent communications between staff members, between schools to families within the LEA. And then finally, a concluding paragraph. And again, this is another piece that is not required but highly recommended by the TEA Early Childhood Education Division. And here in the concluding paragraph, you're simply going to restate the vision and the importance of family involvement for the school district and encourage caregivers and family members' participation to help their children grow and thrive. So let's move ahead and begin taking a look at these required pieces. Like most documents, it's important to begin with a strong introductory paragraph that guides and sets the tone for the plan. Here are some questions to consider as you write your introductory paragraph. Guiding questions might be, what is the LEA's vision for family engagement, and where does it fit within the LEA's greater vision or mission for the district or charter? What is the purpose of the high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan for the LEA? How does the school system nurture trusting relationships with families in the district? What is the intended impact of the high-quality pre-kindergarten engagement plan, family engagement plan for the community, school, staff, families, and children? So following the introductory paragraph comes the body of the family engagement plan. The body will focus on the 6 required components. There should be a section included in every high-quality pre-K family engagement plan for each one of the 6 components. Again, those 6 components are facilitate family-to-family support, establish a network of community resources, increase family participation in decision-making, equip families with tools to enhance and extend learning, develop staff skills in evidence-based practices that support families in meeting their children's learning benchmarks, and evaluate family engagement efforts and use evaluations for continuous improvement. As you move into writing the body portion of the high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan, the body will include 6 component sections. Each one of these sections of the plan should include 2 parts. First, the brief description statement of the component, followed by a list of activities, events, and practices conducted by the LEA that relate to that specific component. Here are guiding questions LEAs can use to develop the component description statement for each component section. What are the attributes of the component? What is the purpose of the component? Who will this component benefit? What strategies are used by the LEA to support this specific component? In addition to the component description statement, each component section of the plan must include a list of related strategic activities. The list can include practices, activities, opportunities, events, or partnerships the district conducts that relate to that specific component. There's not a required number of activities to include here, and some components may have more than others. A recommended number of activities to include would be between 3 to 5. There are also certain strategic activities that may fall under more than one component. So if there is an activity that relates to several different components, it can also be listed in each one of those sections. LEAs have readily available resources that can be central to developing their high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan. So when thinking about what resources to use, it's important to remember that there's no need to go out and look for additional resources when there are resources right at hand that can be very effective in supporting the family engagement plan, starting with the school calendar. The school calendar lends itself to supporting these components: facilitating family-to-family support, establishing a network of community resources, equipping families with tools to enhance and extend learning, and those transition activities. So refer to the school calendar in looking for activities and practices to include in your plan for each one of those components. Another resource that is readily available to school districts is the Staff Professional Development Plan. It can be referenced for finding activities and events and practices related to these components, developing staff skills in evidence-based practices that support families in meeting their children's benchmarks, and linguistically and culturally inclusive practices. These are things that are generally included as part of professional staff development. So referring to those plans would be a helpful way to find the activities and strategies that you would want to include in your family engagement plan. Finally, planning and continuous improvement documents can be used for finding those activities that are useful for evaluating family engagement efforts and using evaluation for continuous improvement. So again, keep in mind here that there are already resources that are available. Use those things that are already available to you in writing each component section of your plan. Now let's go ahead and move forward in talking about what can be included in each one of those component sections of the body of the high quality family engagement plan. The first component is facilitate family-to-family support. What specific events or practices does the district offer families to create a safe and respectful environment where families can learn from each other as individuals and in groups? To invite former program participants, including families and community volunteers, to share their education and career experiences with current families, or to ensure opportunities for continuous participation in events designed for families by families, such as training on family leadership. Some activities to include in this section might be creating a welcoming space for families to gather, or maybe the meet and greet activities during the beginning of the school year that the district provides. You might include here a family directory that the district has created to help families stay in communication with one another throughout the school year. You might post events that bring families together in this section, such as Family Fun Night or other festivals that are included throughout the year for families to get to know one another. For this section, you will want to use the school calendar to identify which events will fall into this component. Remember in this section of the plan that you will first name the component and write the short description statement of the component, and then record the activities and events that relate to facilitating family-to-family support. The second component is to establish a network of community resources. Families may have needs that require assistance, and if the needs are not met, it may affect the children. Schools sometimes do not have all required supports for their families, so they may need to look at organizations in their community for additional resources. Some strategies to guide planning for this component are to identify current partnerships with businesses, faith-based organizations, or community agencies. To leverage your community's assets based on family needs and interests. To facilitate referrals, including mental and physical health providers. To partner with outside early childhood settings to create a family-friendly transition plan for students. Or to identify partners to provide translators and culturally relevant resources that are reflective of the home languages of the families in the LEA. Activities to include in this component section might be to provide flyers that share information about community organizations, to provide a family resource handbook, to have an agency visit the schools once a month to share information about their specific agency, even assisting with getting families a library card so that they can have access to books during the school year or during vacation periods when the school's not in session. The best resource for this section of your family engagement plan will be the school calendar. Again, in this section, you will want to name your component, write that short description statement, and then record the activities and events that you find on your current school calendar that relate to this component. The next component to include in the body of the high quality Pre-Kindergarten Family Engagement Plan is component number 3. Increase family participation in decision making. We know that families are empowered when they are active in school decision making. So this component is where we want to make sure that we are calling out all of those opportunities that the school district is including throughout the year to provide those opportunities to include parents in decision making. Strategies to guide the planning of this section would be to develop family advisory groups, times when the district supports leadership and advocacy skills for families, collaborating with families to solve challenges, the times when districts present opportunities to provide input and feedback from families, the opportunities the district provides for identifying families who can represent pre-kindergarten at various school functions, or to invite parents as participants in the development of continuous improvement plans. This component section is where you might include some of these concrete examples. Providing opportunities to be on advisory committees, allowing parents to participate in reviewing survey results regarding continuous improvement, inviting parents to give opinions on education activities for the school year. There's times when perhaps districts include families in planning field trips or choosing celebrations to carry out throughout the school year. Some of those are some concrete examples of activities that might be included in this section. And again, for section number 3, the resource that can be used here would be the school calendar. And again, you're going to name the component, provide that short description of this component, and then record the activities, practices, and events that are carried out through the year by your school district to implement this third component of family engagement. The next component to include in the high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan is component number 4, equip families with tools to enhance and extend learning. Young children learn best when school learning is supported at home. For example, reading with children at home. Families who share regular reading time together increase their child's literacy skills that they take with them into the classroom. In many cases, families want to support, but they may not always know how to. So this is the section where you can include activities, events, and practices that promote including families as the child's first teacher. Here are strategies to guide that planning. Look for those activities and practices to provide families with information related to age-appropriate developmental expectations. Include activities that equip families with resources and skills to create a home learning environment. Include those activities and practices that encourage families' participation in the classroom, or that utilize a parent bulletin board, for example. Include activities that promote the use of family-friendly technology that supports home learning. Here's the place to include opportunities that provide workshops focused on early childhood topics. Some activities that you might consider including here in this component might be conducting parent conferences, or a parent lending library, a place where books and materials for families are located and parents can check those out to share with their children at home. As is stated here on the slide, a parent bulletin board. Another activity to include would be providing informational meetings about child development for families. Again, here, the resource that you would want to use is the school calendar, where you can find dates and times of each one of these activities that are included throughout the year. And again, in this section, you're going to name the component, include the description statement of this specific component, and then list those 3 to 5 or more activities that the district includes throughout the year to equip families with tools to enhance and extend learning. The next component to include in your high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan is component number 5. Develop staff skills in evidence-based practices that support families in meeting their children's learning benchmarks. This component addresses how well prepared pre-kindergarten teachers are to support families. It's crucial that LEAs include family engagement topics in professional development for their pre-kindergarten teachers throughout the school year. Identifying how staff are being prepared in the areas of family engagement is at the center of this component. So the resource to be used for finding those activities and practices would be the existing professional development plan for staff. In this section, you're going to want to record those professional development activities along with the component description statement as we explained before. And here are some of the topics to consider adding. Consider these professional development topics when thinking about which pieces to add for this component. What are the professional development opportunities provided that focus on strengths-based approach to family engagement, professional ethics, including confidentiality, boundaries, or other ethics types of topics? Look for those professional development opportunities centered around linguistic and culturally responsive interactions with parents and caregivers. Look for the opportunities provided to learn more about responsive adult and child interactions, supporting a family in crisis, or to learning more about the available community organizations and resources that support families in the area. All of these are topics that would be appropriate to include, or topics of professional development that would be appropriate to include in this component section. Like other facets of high-quality pre-kindergarten programs, it's important to continuously evaluate efforts for family engagement. Component number 6 is evaluate family engagement efforts and use evaluations for continuous improvement. Strategies to guide planning for this component would be looking for collaborative goal-setting opportunities with parents, caregivers, and teachers, looking for those opportunities to use surveys to gather data. You include opportunities that use existing data whenever possible. Incorporate family engagement into district's existing improvement plans. Or look for those places where research-based tools are used to assess effectiveness of the family engagement plan. Family engagement plan resources for this component would be reviewing those continuing improvement documents that already exist within the school district. So use those documents as your resource as you're looking for all of the activities and practices that you would want to include in your plan for Section 6 regarding the evaluation of the family engagement efforts for your district. In addition to the required high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan components, the Early Childhood Education Division recommends including this section in the plan to include activities, events, and practices conducted to support children and families as they transition from home to school, or from childcare program to school, or even from one grade level to the next. Times of transition can be difficult for children and even for their grown-ups, so schools can support positive relationships by hosting events and by creating an overall welcoming culture to reduce the stress from new situations for the children and for their families. Here are some questions that can guide the development of this section within your high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan. How does the LEA share professional development with local childcare providers? How does the LEA communicate with local childcare providers? How does the pre-kindergarten staff share data with kindergarten staff to inform them regarding the children and the families that they will be receiving in the upcoming school year? What practices and activities does the LEA provide to support families and children as they transition from a non-LEA program into their schools or from one grade level to another within their district? All of these questions are things to consider as you choose those events and practices that you want to include in your family engagement plan in the section about transition activities. Again, here the resource that you might consider using is the school calendar, because many of those activities and practices will already be recorded there. So again, you're going to include your component statement here around transition activities, and then list out those activities that are included throughout the school year at your school district. Along with the required 6 components of your high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan, the Early Childhood Education Division also recommends including a section within the body of your plan to share linguistic and culturally responsive practices the LEA implements to foster a culture that is welcoming to all families, staff, and community members. Here again are some guiding questions to consider while writing this section. Does the LEA offer educators and school staff professional development on culturally responsiveness? How does the LEA ensure communications are accessible to all families? Are families welcomed by the school district in consistent and culturally competent ways? How does the LEA attract diverse educators and family engagement staff? Helpful resources for writing this section may be the school calendar, where some of these events and activities are included. The district human resources practices and staff professional development plan may also include some activities and practices that could be included here. This section aligns with the high-quality pre-kindergarten self-assessment, family engagement, inclusive family engagement policy section. So referring to that section may also be, that section of the self-assessment may also be a helpful area to review in writing this section of your high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan. The final piece to include in the high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan is that concluding paragraph. Here are some things to keep in mind while writing the conclusion to your family engagement plan. This is a place to reaffirm the priority that family engagement has in the district's overall mission and vision. To reaffirm the LEA's expectations for family, staff, and student involvement. To reemphasize the role of respectful and trusting relationships between school and families that lead to positive child outcomes. and to encourage families to participate in the opportunities that are provided by the pre-kindergarten program within the school district or charter. Again, this concluding paragraph will really be a reflection of what was stated earlier in the introduction of the Family Engagement Plan. Once the district writing team has completed the writing of the High Quality Pre-Kindergarten Family Engagement Plan, House Bill 3 requires that they not only implement the plan, but also that they post and report their plan. So how do LEAs promote their High Quality Pre-K Family Engagement Plan? School districts must make their high-quality pre-K family engagement plan available to their community annually by posting it on their website by November 1st of each school year. And how do LEAs report their high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan? LEAs are required to include a link to their high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan as part of the end-of-the-year ECDS submission. They must report the link that connects directly to the family engagement plan document. Just reporting the link to the district or charter's website is not adequate for ECDS, so it's important that LEAs understand that when they do report to ECDS and they make that submission to ECDS each year, that the link that they include is the one that connects directly to the place where the high quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan is found. The Early Childhood Education Division shares resources and supports that may assist you in complying with a high-quality component family engagement plan. Let's take a look now at an FAQ from the Early Childhood Education Division high-quality pre-kindergarten webpage that relates to the family engagement plan. The question says, should the family engagement plan be a district-wide plan, or can it be relevant to just one campus? And the answer is the family engagement plan containing the 6 components should be associated with a district or charter's pre-kindergarten program. A district should have one district-wide plan. Campus-level modifications within a district may be made to suit the needs of each pre-kindergarten program. LEAs will upload the link to their family engagement plan into the Early Childhood Data System annually. And here is another FAQ regarding family engagement from the EC Division High Quality Pre-K webpage. The question says, our district already has a plan that addresses how to encourage family involvement. Can we use that plan to comply with this high quality component? And the answer is, often districts and charters already have a written plan that describes their approach to working with the families of the students they serve. This is especially true if a district receives Title I funds or is in partnership with a Head Start grantee. It might be possible to use that existing plan as the high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan if the existing plan already contains the 6 expected components and if the activities listed in the plan are implemented in the pre-kindergarten program, and if the plan is available on the district website. Here are links to some available resources that may be helpful as you create your family engagement plan. And here are some additional resources that are available to support as you write your plan. The Early Childhood Education Division at TEA is ready and willing to support your efforts as you create your high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan. please visit our website listed here, or the ECE Division High Quality Pre-K webpage, also included here on this slide, or contact us directly at the TEA Early Childhood Education Division Support Portal, and it's listed here as well. We are more than happy to support and answer questions as you work on creating your plan to best serve the children and families in your district. And finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for supporting young children and their families in the state of Texas so well.